Special Agent Josh Mead with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Today is April 29th, 2012. It's approximately 3:51 a.m. Following will be a tape sworn interview with Officer Kevin Connelly with the Daytona Beach Police Department. Interview is at the Daytona Beach Police Department in reference to the officer-involved shooting occurred yesterday's date, April 28th, 2012. Officer Connelly, will you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear and affirm that the statement you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your belief and knowledge, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. And as we discussed earlier, we went over kind of your testimony, your recollection of everything that happened, and I explained to you that now we're going to go back on tape and just make sure that we catch all the main points. So if you could, as we did before, just start from the beginning at the point where you said that you were on a traffic stop on an unrelated incident.
I was on Derbyshire Liquor, Derbyshire Plaza at 8th and Derbyshire when I was on a admin channel running a name, and I went back to select my main channel, and I heard Officer Mersereau giving out a description of a vehicle that was fleeing from him. He was calling out a tag number, and shortly after that, probably seconds, I heard, I'm not sure what unit it was, call out shots fired. And with the direction of traveling down Richard Petty. Even Officer Dill cleared permission to pursue the vehicle with the supervisor. I responded to the area, came down Clyde Morris to Richard Petty, up Richard Petty to the scene. I arrived on the scene and approached the vehicle in question, the tan Lincoln car that was parked where it actually came to rest, halfway on the grass and on the roadway.
That was in the area of Embry-Riddle?
Yeah, it was on Embry-Riddle's campus.
What prompted do you know what the basis for the call was?
It was a male subject at the airport brandishing a handgun.
Okay. I
got to the scene. Officer Dill was standing next to the car. He advised me that front seat passenger in the vehicle, a female, had been shot. I went up to the car. Front passenger door was open. Asked the female if she was okay. Didn't receive a response. Her head was tipped back to the seat. I went to go take a pulse, and her head fell chin to chest. She was a restrained passenger in the vehicle, undid her seatbelt, removed her from the vehicle, and placed her on the ground outside of the car. When she laid down, she became a little bit more conscious and alert. She said she was experiencing pain in her chest and numbness in her lower portion of her body. I then began cutting her clothes off to try and ascertain where her injuries were. I immediately observed, upon removing her from the front seat, was blood on the center console of the vehicle on the side she was sitting on, and her clothes had blood on them. I discovered a gunshot wound to her left breast. On the more on the left side of it was the entrance wound. Did a further assessment. I was unable to locate an exit wound from that gunshot. She said she started having trouble breathing, but she was alert and oriented and able to talk to me. I asked her who the subject was who was in the car with her, and she said that was her boyfriend. I asked her, what was going on, why was this happening, and she just was really unable to give me an answer there. She said she didn't know why. Evac arrived on scene, placed her on a backboard, and transported her the trauma alert to Halifax. I followed Evac reports to Halifax. She was brought to the emergency department, and short time later taken to CAT scan. I escorted her there, made contact with the trauma surgeon who was reviewing her CAT scan films, and advised that she was paralyzed from the about the chest down. It was a injury to her T3 vertebrae area, with the projectile still intact in her spinal area.
And she had made a statement that she was about 14 weeks pregnant.
Yeah,
at that
she
time.
was 14 weeks pregnant and 23 years old.
Okay. And she was asked somewhere initially during that time that if she had any drugs in her system, and I know that comes up later, but was she asked that
I
later?
believe Evac asked her if she was on any medication, and she said no, or had any problems with her, any medical problems or problems with her pregnancy.
Okay. And then you stated earlier that some detectives showed up from Daytona Beach Police Department.
Yeah, once she was brought out of CAT scan, she was transferred to the intensive surgical care unit. Sometime later, it was Detective Bridget Hayden, Jakari Young, and Nate Williams responded up to her room 1309.
And then did they conducted an interview that was recorded?
Detective Hayden and Detective Young conducted a recorded interview, an audio recorded interview with the female that I was present for.
Okay. And then during that interview, she started to give a little bit more details about what had happened, who she was in the car with.
Right, her boyfriend Marvin Smith or Jones said that she had arrived on a Delta flight from Boston to meet him. That he was her boyfriend, and that she was pregnant with his child.
Okay. And then after he picked her up, she told you that the cops tried to pull him over. There was an exchange of gunfire, and that was all during the recorded statement. Is that correct? Okay. All right. But then you said after that recorded interview was over, then you spent more time with her, and she was able to give you even more details.
Yes.
Okay. And that's when she told you that they had met previously in Boston.
Yeah, they met previously in Boston at a bus stop. She became pregnant with his child. She said that approximately a week prior to this date, arrangements were made for her to fly down to Florida to spend time with him. Going into further details about how well she knew him, anything that she did know about him, she said that she really didn't know that much about him. She didn't know. He said that he told her that he was employed. However, she didn't know where he was employed at, or she didn't even know where he stayed or anything like that.
Okay. And then what was his demeanor when he picked her up that night?
She said that he wasn't at her gate. When her flight arrived, she was walking on the second floor of Daytona International Airport, and he was next to the elevator is where he met her. He was in good spirits. He was not angered, not distraught, nothing. She said nothing out of the ordinary. She didn't think anything was wrong at all. She said they got down to the car, and he gave her a gift, a brand new pair of shoes.
Okay. And then they left the airport, and at that point's when they confronted law enforcement.
Yeah, she said that the law enforcement tried to stop them. She said that the cop told him to step out of the vehicle, and she said at that time she just heard an exchange of gunfire.
And then skipping ahead a little bit, I asked you if she said anything about him having a gun, or why he had a gun, or what kind of gun he had, or why he had a gun. She didn't know the answers to any of those questions. Okay. All she knows is that she was just picked up, and the cops were trying to pull them over, and all of a sudden there's an exchange of gunfire.
Correct.
Okay. And after, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, she after the exchange of gunfire, she said that's when she realized that she had been shot or hurt, and she said that she started getting really dizzy and lightheaded, started experiencing numbness in her hands, and she said like her whole body was going numb. He then left in the car at a very high rate of speed. She said he kept saying over and over to her, "I'm going to get you to a hospital, baby. I'm going to get you to a hospital." And at some point during the drive, while he was driving the vehicle, he said, I gotta go. And she said that's when the car came to a stop and he took off running. She said that she saw cops running around the car, and she was trying to yell for help, and she was unable to yell for help. She really didn't say why, presumably because her gunshot wound.
Okay. And then back to the drugs in her system, it turned out that you heard the charge nurse say something about
the
results.
Blood results. We asked if she had any tox, or what her tox screen was, and the nurse said that she came back positive for benzodiazepine and opiates. The nurse went back into her room and asked her if she was on any medication. She said no. The nurse said, "Are you sure?" She said, "No, I just take prenatal vitamins." And the nurse told her, "Well, you have some stuff in your system." And then it went to, "Well, I take Tylenol." And the nurse asked her, "Well, does it have anything else with it? Codeine?" And I was actually walking out of the room, and all I heard was, "Yeah, my doctor prescribed them for me." So.
And she had mentioned something to the nurse about being in the hospital earlier with stomach issues.
Yeah, that was actually, she told me that when I was talking to her, because I asked her how often she talks to this guy, and she said that for like a week period of time, she wasn't talking to him that often because she was in the hospital with stomach issues.
Okay, and just to reiterate, during that whole conversation, again, she didn't know that her boyfriend, the subject in this matter, why he had a gun, or if he had a gun, or what kind of gun.
When she was giving the recorded statement to Bridget and Jakari, I can't say for 100% what the answer to that was. I remember Bridget asking, but as far as when I talked to her afterwards, no, she didn't say anything like that.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add before we go off tape?
Nope.
Okay, that concludes the interview. It is 4:04 a.m.